item 7B, Superintendent's Report.
Board of Trustees, you have the report in front of you as a hard copy, and you can follow along. I'm here to share with you just a strategic update moving forward. I will be sharing with the board this presentation to be able to receive input on the following: theory of change, key priorities to address areas of improvement, and timeline for planning, execution, and reporting out on progress. So here, I'm sure the Board of Trustees is very familiar for the community. Going into 2019-2020, you can see our enrollment declining. We will have close to 2,039 students. As Ruben Abrita had spoke, we no longer will have Cesar Chavez, as our middle school will consume the 8th grade class, and we will have a comprehensive middle school and 5 elementary schools. So that's 6 schools going into 1920. 6 principals governing those schools with 132 classroom and specialist teachers. You see our data there from 2015, which is a reflection of our students' performance in ELA, literacy, and math on the CASC of students meeting or exceeding standards. In 2019, we have close to 90% of our data that has come back to us, and we estimate that the exceeding meeting standards is at similar percentage. The demographics in our community: 83% Latino, 8% Pacific Islander, 7% African American, 89% low income, and 60% of our students are English language learners. And again, you see our decline in enrollment since 2012 and what is expected in 2023. And as we go into 1920, again, it's 2,039, that's projected to date. And then, of course, that impact that it has on our revenue, and you can see the decline there, where in 2017 we had 31.5 million, and in 2019-2020 we're at 26 million. So the theory of change. A theory of change is a method for defining long-term goals for change, and then backwards mapping to identify the steps, work, and conditions necessary to achieve these goals. Board of Trustees, there are 3 primary goals I will revisit with you tonight that we must work towards and achieve to fundamentally transform the educational experience of our children. This work will not be done in isolation. Having built a foundation of trust between and among stakeholders, teachers, classified staff, department leads, and community partners over my 21-year tenure in this district, we are poised to prepare all students for success in high school, college, career, and life. These 3 goals were shared with you during my first board meeting as I accepted the role as acting superintendent. They have been my mantra when addressing site and system leaders as interim superintendent. And as I lead the district into 2019-2020, I will continue to push these as our primary focus. We must improve instruction with the right people in the right places. We have to provide holistic support for students, and we must be fiscally responsible. We have to right-size and consolidate our schools to ensure we offer the best school programs of choice. We have to make sure we have and recruit and retain competitive teachers and provide compensation for them. So what's working in Ravenswood? Well, we already had existing strengths. We have teacher leadership and coaching. We have the art and music programs. We've had the mental health services and the STEM maker spaces. Those are successes. But some of our recent successes, we've improved instruction with right people in the right places by reorganization of administrative team. We filled a principal vacancy, and we're going to continue to search for the best to fill our last principal vacancy. We have new experts retained to improve student achievement. Also recently, to ensure that we have holistic support for students, we have new partnerships with CMI and teacher professional development and resilience building sessions with students. We're going to consolidate and increase Children's Health Council to support at RMS at no cost to the district. And we're going to continue to maintain 6 CASI counselors, 1 Star Vista, one from Star Vista, and 1 from the county council. From the county. We're going to increase access to the 49ers Academy for 100% of grades 6 through 8. So now we have mentoring across 6th through 8th grade with the support of the 49ers Academy, not just at Castano School. And we have new partnership with the Boys and Girls Club to extend the programming at RMS. And to remain fiscally responsible, we have set a tentative agreement with both RTA and CSEA. We also are becoming very energy efficient. Here we have approximately, our transportation supervisor applied for a Bay Area Quality Management Grant that the district was awarded $1.4 million. That's equated to 7 new buses. In addition, we were awarded a $1.18 million grant from California Energy Commission, where we were awarded 3 electric buses that replaced the diesel, in addition to the infrastructure to support the electric buses. Steve supported us with the Prop 39 energy efficient funds, where we're going to have efficient lighting and HVAC upgrade. And within my recent appointment as interim superintendent, $1.3 million has been contributed to the Ravenswood Education Foundation.
To the foundation?
To support Ravenswood City School District.
Yeah, but the money is going to the foundation is my point.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are key areas of improvement that must be addressed in order to improve instruction across the district. And I want to continue and emphasize that our meetings here are going to continually focus on student achievement and instruction. So as an organization, as an educational organization that is focused on instruction, we are not where we need to be in terms of academic outcomes for our students. And again, here you have the comparison of the data. We must align our instruction to grade level expectations and curriculum to increase student achievement. We must ensure coherent professional development for systems and school leaders. And we must increase teacher and administrator morale. To change course, we must elevate instruction district-wide and take action to ensure that we have the right educators and the right leaders, again, in the right seats. Research and experience show improving instruction requires great teachers, effective principals, and rigorous and engaging instruction. So the presence of 1 or 2 of these elements is not enough. Teachers are the most important in-school factor influencing student achievement. Principals are the second most important in-school factor, given their role in establishing instructional excellence and supporting educators within the school. And we must move from low to high quality instruction, the day-to-day instruction, to boost student achievement. Improving instruction requires vertically aligned professional development across the district from teachers to cabinet members. I want to emphasize that everyone from the teacher to the superintendent is accountable for the academic performance of our students. Teacher leaders, principals, and district leaders need the right training and support in order to coach and foster excellent teaching in the classroom. And we need to develop them together so they work from the same playbook. The site principals must be able to support the teachers. District directors, cabinet members must be able to support the principals, support the work in the classroom. We will provide aligned support to educators and leaders at every level through partnering with instruction partners, new leaders, and new teacher center. So the new leaders will develop highly effective principals and instructional leadership teams, build leadership alignment across the district and develop the collective capacity, and strengthen the transformational leadership practices of myself, the superintendent. Instruction partners will support daily instruction to increase student learning. They will focus their work on helping systems and schools understand and answer 2 questions. Are we teaching the right content, and are students learning it? And then a new teacher center will provide direct support to our teacher coaches and CNI to ensure that they provide direct support to the classroom teachers, pushing the initiatives of the new leaders and instruction partners' goals and objectives. Our primary responsibility is to educate and provide rigorous and engaging instruction day to day to prepare students we work with. But students are human beings, which means their hierarchy of needs need to be addressed to ensure optimal conditions for learning. Therefore, we are to address the whole child, including their physical and mental, emotional health. And you see here the supports that we have in place. We have the clothing support, we have food programs, we have homeless family support and funding. We provide programs that allow students to connect to school, build 21st century skills, and compete in global society through art, music, STEM, sports, after-school programs. And then the social-emotional supports with our new partners with Child Mind Institute, school-based counseling, and then being able to have these resilient building sessions for students. To be fiscally responsible, we must right-size the district. The school consolidation process will be a major time-consuming undertaking. I have envisioned spending 25 to 30% of my time, I might be underestimating it, over the next 6 months on developing and executing our school consolidation strategy. It also presents unavoidable challenges. As we saw in Redwood City, district officials reluctantly and with great opposition from the community made the extremely difficult decision to close 4 schools after it became clear that there were no other options for reducing their budget gap. At the same time, it is a key step towards reaching fiscal solvency. We will embark on this work cognizant of the multifaceted political framework at play, with the emotional and community impact in our hearts, and with our commitment to our student success in college, career, and life as our engine. School consolidation will also allow us to provide more and higher quality curricular offerings and programming for our students. By combining resources, consolidated schools can provide more student services, such as mental health supports and electives, and lead greater collaboration and upgraded facilities. To inform this work, we will look to the best practices from successful school consolidation efforts from across the country, not next door only. We are highly committed to engaging with all stakeholders early and often during this process. Before you are our partners that we will be working with and the timelines for the 1920 school year and the contributions from philanthropic dollars that are allowing us to be able to make this happen. And so here we have new leaders that will start their work immediately in August. We have education resource strategies starting in July, and then the human capital strategy compensation analysis that they will provide from July through October for their first phase, and October through December for their second phase. We have a new teacher center whose funding rolls over through July to December, and we are looking at conversing with our donors and with Ravenswood Education Foundation to have them continue for the remainder of the year. And then instruction partners, you see the cost there, and their work will begin immediately in August. And Attune is pending, that is on the consent agenda, and that is an agency that will help us develop our strategic plan to get us through not only 1920, but successfully through the subsequent years. Strategic officer is to be determined if that is something the board believes is what we need. Again, that would be funded through Ravenswood Education Foundation. We've been able to ensure collaboration with PE through Rhythm and Moves to allow teachers to be able to work collectively during the regular school day and not after school, in addition to the preps that are provided through the art and music collaboration or release times. Again, and we are exploring options with the Child Mind Institute to see if we can provide curriculum for our teachers to support with social emotional learning. And to ensure that we have the right people in the right place, thank you very much. We also have additional incentives for new candidates to attract new candidates to our district. In regards to the timelines, since March 1, when the board appointed me as interim superintendent or acting superintendent, again, $1.3 million. There's a $1.3 million increase in funding. We forged and renewed partnerships to improve instruction and advance student achievement. We reorganized the administrative team. We filled a principal vacancy, and tentative agreements with both unions are in place. Moving forward, thank you.
Did it stop working? I'm so sorry.
No, I just need to remember to push. June through August, you see this is the timeline and execution. We will lay the foundation and plan for improving instruction with the partners the board has approved. We will continue to plan for school consolidation, and we will finalize the TA agreement around compensation. And in August, I will share with the board updates on June through July foundational work and outcomes of a strategic planning launch. September through November, execute on improving instruction again with our partners. Execute on the TA agreement around compensation. The month of September, we will definitely be holding stakeholder meetings around consolidation, work on our strategic plan and finalizing the strategic plan, and we must execute and make a decision around school consolidation. In November, we will share updates on work, initial report on leading indicators from instruction partners, new leaders, and new teacher center to see how we are progressing. Over to the right of the slide, by November, we will be able to report on initial progress towards building foundational skills for advancing instruction across the range of educators and leaders. such as strengthening and implementing a strategic plan to develop, empower, and retain existing talent across the district, particularly high effective instructional leaders. Building a common language and calibrating on what effective, rigorous, standard-based instruction looks like in order to drive teacher coaching, professional development, and data analysis. Creating and implementing systems and structures that ensure instructional practices meet the learning needs of all students and advance student achievement across the district. Today is just the beginning. Over the fall, I will engage with and seek input from different stakeholders, parents, community members, the leadership team, and the board on our key strategies. I will also keep it on an open and transparent line of communication with the board to check in on the progress of our work. And I will continuously revisit the strategic plan and reports and follow-up meetings. Again, we must make sure we have the right people in the right places to improve instruction. We must provide holistic emotional support for students, and we must be fiscally responsible to ensure we provide competitive school programs of choice and retaining effective teachers.
Thank you for that update. This is awesome. I'd love to see, I loved it because it was super detailed, but it was also, you know, very easy to understand and organize well. I'd love to see something like this, maybe, you know, not to, you know, just a one page or couple slides on, you know, our social media outlets if possible, so like our website or Facebook page or, just so that we can, number one, inform the community of, I think positive, growth and, positive, strategies that we're putting into place for the future, but then also to prime them for what's coming up. So when I think about these conversations around consolidation, I just want to stay in constant communication, with our community members about it. So, might be good to put something on those, things.
Through the chair. So thank you for this report, interim superintendent. I had a couple questions, statements, and comments. So I guess I should start from the beginning. I'm really glad we've been able to bring in 1.3 million in philanthropic dollars. I think it's great that we're bringing in additional resources. I would also like to get a follow-up of how much we've lost. I know one of our major funders pulled out, and I want to know if any other funders are also pulling out and how much that sums up to. Because although that 1.3 looks great, if we lost more than 1.3, where's the gap? How much do we still have to fill? So I would like that information. As I move on, I like a lot of the concepts, but I have a lot of questions of how are we doing this? How are we doing this? At the very end, you talked about creating a strategic plan, and I'm hoping a lot of my hows on the different pages are going to be more defined. When you talk about aligning instruction to grade level expectations and curriculum, when I think about the middle school, how are we aligning instruction to what is going to happen in high school and their curriculum there? I think that is a key component. I think in addition to aligning to grade level expectations in curriculum, we need to make sure that the curriculum we're sharing is also going to be a seamless transition for when they go into high school. And we should be working closely with our school district and including the charters. Sometimes our students end up going to charters afterwards that are local to make sure that we're properly preparing them to go into high school. The other thing was, once again, like, you talk about teacher training. What does teacher training look like, right? And how does it differ from what we're currently doing? So once again, a lot of hows, but I'm thinking that at the very end, once again, that strategic plan is going to define that. And I'm actually glad to see that we're going to be able to use our signing bonuses to attract and recruit. I know this was an idea that the board had already, and it was actually shut down. We wanted to do signing bonuses to attract and recruit, and unfortunately, skipping the details, we were prevented from doing so. So I'm glad that now that will be incorporated, because I do think that's a great way of bringing more additional staff in, so just, those questions are running through my mind, and I look forward to be able to see a real plan in place.
If I can, to speak to the how question around the strategic plan, we're actually voting tonight, I see on the consent agenda about, a contract or an MOU with Attuned Partners, which would be leading the strategic plan, and it's pretty, comprehensive. They gave an outline of the process, and so it's something that would start as early, if approved, as July and go through January 2020, and it's pretty deep. So they start with a comprehensive needs diagnostic.
No, my how wasn't
yeah.
on the plan, it was
Okay.
the how are we changing, professional development training?
Yeah.
How are we changing instruction? How are we doing all these things? And I get that it's gonna be a part of that strategic plan process.
Gotcha,
So my
gotcha.
how was on those
Okay.
specific things we're noting are critical to be game changers.
Yeah.
What is the plan, what are we doing? So that's something I'm looking forward to see what that plan
Sounds good.
is.
Right, through the chair, that's actually one of my comments. First of all, I'm glad that there's recognition that teachers are most the important factor in influencing student outcomes, because they had it that it was the superintendent, you know, as if the teachers had nothing to do with it. So my question is, we have teachers who may not be the most effective teachers, and what's your strategy on dealing with them? I mean, frankly, you know, where's the evaluation process? Because again, we have in the past identified people who are not being effective, but because of the tenure, because of the unions, we were not able to make any movement in terms of improving their attitude or outcome. So what is it that is gonna be different this time that is gonna change things?
So part of the how, once again.
Yeah, yeah. And then on the 1.3, does this include the strategy officer or not?
No, that would be new money.
So it would be, okay,
Addition money, yeah.
okay, and, yeah, I'm really, I mean, this, you know, looks good.
So I can respond to a few comments. In regards to making sure that we're aligned to the high school, I want to emphasize it's not necessarily what we teach with, it's not necessarily the curriculum, it's making sure that our instruction is at grade level. Our tier 1 first instruction is at grade level. We might be shooting ourselves in the foot by not teaching at grade level from the get-go. And so that is the goal with instruction partners, is to help make sure that the superintendent, who does have an impact on instruction, because I must set the tone and expectation for site administration, for the central office staff, to support principals, to make sure we all speak a common language of what we want to see in our classrooms in the day-to-day, and we have to invest in our teachers. So the instruction partners, again, will go and analyze and look at content to make sure it's grade level, to make sure are we asking the right questions when we're assessing students. Sometimes we think as educators we're hitting the mark and we're slightly off. And I want to create a culture that we are continually going to participate in coaching cycle. I need a coach, directors need a coach, principals need a coach, professional athletes have coaches. I want to set the tone that everyone needs to be learning and growing and to learn from one another. And sometimes we do need experts to help us with that. And that's what instruction partners will help us do. New leaders will ensure we have that coherent plan. So there's no how right now in terms of the long term, but there are steps and actions that these partners can help us tell us to do. And that's how I'm going to help execute in the classroom, the actions that we need to take. In terms of professional development, we've had a lot of professional development, but in terms of like the feedback, we want to make sure we're very strategic with the feedback that the surveys that we ask. Oftentimes it's, how did the participants feel? Versus, are we also following up in the classrooms and making sure that what they said they thought they learned, and they being any stakeholder that participated in the professional development at any level. And the new term right now is the district is systems level, okay? So systems or school level, are they actually articulating, yes, I learned it, and executing the work? That's a key.
That also also a key is their participation, because I know that that was one of the issues, is that we offer professional development, but we don't mandate it. So people opt out. So it's like, I mean, that was what the whole thing about the Aspire, curriculum, not Aspire, the, Summit curriculum. You know, people came and criticized the curriculum, and they didn't even participate in the professional development around it.
Oh, I heard they didn't know about it.
No, let me just, okay, you get another, I mean, you know, they didn't participate, it was offered, but people opt out, and again, it wasn't mandatory. So again, the issue is, and you know, I mean, I'm a teacher, so I know how it works too. If you decide, and so what is it that's gonna change that mindset and get people to be more willing to participate in the, you know, in the change, frankly. I mean, you know, you and I have both been around this district a long time. We know a lot of the people here. And some people are so entrenched, you know, they think that their way is the only way. So what is it that, are you thinking that when we bring in the experts that they'll be able to?
No, I think it stems from the leadership.
So, okay,
It
so
stems
then
from
let's,
the leadership.
because that was my next question. In the past, we have had principals who have not in fact done evaluations. So we end up getting stuck with people because nobody did an evaluation the first 2 years on them. And then once they're here in year 3, that's it. They're out.
I came on board after the evaluation process timelines are closed for teachers. I've already been prefacing in the structural leadership meetings. That is what we need to do in terms of holding ourselves accountable, is the cycle of coaching in addition to the evaluation process. So that is my charge. I ask the board to hold me accountable to that in regards to holding principals accountable to that. And I don't, again, I'm coming in spring, so the evaluation timelines have already gone by. So I don't know, well, I do know what past practice was, but we need to hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. This looks great. I wanna see the.
It's gonna be hard work for everybody.
Yes, it is.
And the thing here though is, not only are we going to have to right size our district, but we have to do it in such a way that it doesn't distract the work that we have to do day to day in the classroom still. So the fall is going to be a very challenging time. I'm trying to set the tone and the picture of what we're going to have to do for the benefit of our students.
I wish you the best of luck.
It's us.
Well, it's all of us.
No, I mean, I agree. After
We
11
got people in
years,
here that are ready to do it.
believe me, there's been many frustrating evenings, you know, and year to year, because frankly, I had a teacher tell me in September that the grades are gonna go down in June. It's like, whoa. You know, I mean, I was stunned that she felt that it was okay for her to make that statement. So now I should send my kid to you?
We're all gonna do this together. So it's not just me, like I said, emphasize, I'm not gonna be working in isolation. The minute I step forward and I'm not flanked, there is an issue. And I understand that I'm not gonna be 100% agreement, but there needs to be a consensus.
Through the chair, I'd also like to know, you talked about not doing it alone and bringing in external stakeholders. I would like to know, if you don't know it today, what the strategy around that is. How do you engage? I think sometimes in all agencies we run into the issue of the same individuals tend to engage repeatedly and they have the same message. I would like for it to be a diverse representation of the diverse needs and the diverse student population that we have.
I imagine we'll be doing a lot of this work with you, with our roles and responsibilities on board, and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh.
And so, what was I gonna say? If any of these, like, let's say the people with, attuned partners in the strategic priorities work, or with ERS, if any of these are gonna require, like, a steering committee or something, if you'd like a board member to sit on the committee or something, just make sure to bring those up to us, and then we can appoint someone. But I imagine in the case of the strategic, exactly, the budget advisory committee and all.
So that was actually my other question on the attune. Where's the board involvement in this strategy? You know?
Oh, we would have to obviously have a committee to be able to
Okay.
come to a consensus on mission, vision, and moving forward.
Okay.
And this would be a representation of community members, board members, parents, teachers, principals.
That should be all board members, it shouldn't be a board member or 2 or 3 representing. When you're gonna establish a vision, mission statement for the entire district moving forward, that is a collective job of the
No,
board.
I think in this case, it's like a subcommittee where they're not, you don't have power where you're making decisions, but then the initial drafts and ideas. So let's say with the logo, for example, instead of coming to the entire board with 20 ideas, maybe that subcommittee or steering committee would have 5, and then, pick those 5 of the 20 and then bring them to everyone. So I imagine.
I'm just saying,
when they wouldn't be finalizing, no subcommittee's gonna finalize anything.
But it's such a significant, work that's actually very much on the responsibility of the board. So for me to have a committee develop the vision, mission statement as a proposal and not have all the board give input.
No,
and
for sure giving
brainstorm
input,
together,
yes.
to me, I'm uncomfortable with that.
So
if
then
there
all
is-
these committees are gonna
If
give
there is a
input.
limited amount of trustees that you all are proposing to be a part of the committee, I'm already saying I wanna be a participant in that because I don't feel good about having a hands-off approach to that process at all.
The number of participants from each subgroup has not been determined whatsoever, so.
Well, I think it's clear
And we
through
can
the
figure
chair
it
that
out.
trustee Polito has expressed interest, and so when you start putting it together, the
Well, I
committees,
think we
make
would
sure that
appoint like we
you.
would with the subcommittees.
Huh?
I think we'd appoint like we would with the subcommittees, or we can do it either, we can have 2, we can have 3, and just make it, like you're saying, everyone's involved, but when that comes up,
I mean, I don't
then
know
it'll be
how it'll
before
roll
us.
out, but I'm just saying, I'm not comfortable as a board member being hands-off in that development.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
would like to make some comments. First of all, I like the plan, it's really good. I'm looking forward to follow it. Very, when you see it, it's like you wanna start working on it. And I love the fact about teacher training, that has to keep going every time. But don't forget also about the paraprofessionals or instructional aides. It's been a lot of times with the kids, because the teachers, with the full inclusion, many times, the students have to be taken out, and where do they spend the time, and how do they spend the time? So make sure that they are receiving instructional minutes, not just babysitting. So in the past, I attended those, because I wanted to learn what they are learning, the paraprofessional. They did some training, but it was not quite enough, strong enough to really let you go and do it. It was very lightly training from the meetings that I attended, the trainings that they did. So I would like something more specific about each student needs, so we can meet them. It's like, if it's autistic, bring somebody who has autistic experience and how to deal with the kids. There's the Down syndrome. There are people who are training around. I have gone to those trainings, but it would be great if the paraprofessionals go, because they're the ones dealing with our kids.
Right, and we actually have some staff right now from the special ed department who's receiving training on dyslexia, and that was one of the concerns that we received often from, council, for our students, who advocate for our students, and then also, our director of, special ed is already planning the professional development, so that it's more rigorous
Yes,
for our paraeducators.
Thank you.
So through the chair, I just need some clarification. So, trustee Garner, you said that you went to this training?
I attended trainings, the paraprofessional trainings, in the past. When I was working here.
Oh, when you were
Yeah,
working,
when
I was gonna say, are we
working here,
supposed to go into?
And they were very lively, it was just like fill up the time, and I have gone to others myself, and I see, when I know that I have a teacher aide who might need help, I said, why don't you come? Cause it's much better to hear it from somebody else than from the teacher. They know that she's a professional, like with Down syndrome kids, it was amazing, the training that I went to. And there were many, paraprofessionals that were encouraged to go through Redwood City, and they went, and then they got some kind of, salary advancement, very little, but it makes a difference. It's not just like they go in, because some people need the you know, the motivation, so if you have to do that, that's, you know, that's good. Whatever it takes, so they can get the training.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you again for that update. On to item number 8A.